I'd like to call to order the Thursday, December 7, 2023 Human Relations Commission meeting. Could we have the roll call, please?
Peter Resnick.
Here.
Greg Schroeder.
Here.
Shalini Smith.
Here.
Ann Panthen.
Here. Do we have any additions to the agenda? Nope. Hopefully everyone has had time to read the minutes, and so we'll need a motion to approve the minutes of the November 21st meeting.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public input, we don't have any public here tonight, so we'll move on to unfinished business. Human Relations Commission vacancies and recruitment.
We are still in the process of putting together the material that will go out. All of the letters have gone out to the neighborhood associations, and in my report, I'll give you an update on that.
Thank you.
And we are currently in need of five people to volunteer.
Thank you. Yes.
One recommendation, years and years ago, and it was, of course, during the aftermath of 9/11, we made contact with the local mosque and got a couple of volunteers out of, from there. And especially given what's going on in the Middle East at the moment, I think that would be a great group of people to maybe solicit and see if they've got anybody else who might be interested in volunteering.
I'm hoping to link up with the New American Welcome Center to bring the immigrant voice to the table.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. The EEO workforce statistics. So I think we can do what we did, we've been doing, which is move to approve them, and then any discussion can occur after that. We can probably do it in bulk. So do we have a motion to do that?
I thought we discussed first last time. No? All right.
A couple of times ago, we did.
We did. So we can move to approve them in a second and then discuss.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve, in order of the spreadsheet provided, Electrona Data Collection Corporation, 2 years. Ideal Environmental Engineering Incorporated, 1 year. BLD Services LLC, 2 years. Stark Excavating Incorporated, 2 years. Healthcare Service Corporation, 2 years. Performance Pipelining Incorporated, 2 years. Warehouse Direct Incorporated, doing business as Stocks Office Furniture, 2 years. And Cogent Incorporated, doing business as Vandeventer Engineering, 2 years.
I'll second.
Thank you. I just had a couple of questions, and I don't think really has an impact one way or the other. It's just maybe more of a curiosity for the spreadsheet. The Healthcare Service Corporation, which is essentially Blue Cross and Blue Shield, it says it's a new certification, but it's also it says general renewal on the other column. And so I wasn't sure which. Okay.
I'm so glad you pointed that out, because we had a couple of rounds of trying to sort out exactly how they were identified. And and if the name had changed besides healthcare. And it seems to be that there were some situations during the pandemic that maybe there had been a renewal in there, but it doesn't seem to have landed in the records that we have had. And some of our records go back, for me, some of them go back 11 years. So as I talked with folks in human resources, they said they knew now because of open enrollment going on this time of year that they needed to have this on the record for us. So we asked them we started off asking them every question we could, and so their actual application does show turnover from a previous time and how they've been hiring specifically this year. So we decided just let's treat them as new, but get as much information as they could share based on what they had with their own history with us.
Okay. I knew there was an answer to that. And then the other question I had was the Warehouse Direct, which is Stock's office furniture, and it's for the Urbana Park District. And it also looks different, like they're not providing a service, maybe they're providing chairs or something, which is just kind of a different,
Yes, and what this application would mean is that they've reached a threshold of dollar amounts of how much that furniture is going to cost. So that's why they need to go through this group.
I see. And why is it the Urbana Park District instead of the city of Urbana? Or,
Well, we have had times where both the Park District, and Pete can probably explain this a little bit, with Park District and sometimes the library have come before the board. So the city is requiring that these expenses come through this board, even though the operations that they're serving are independent of the city in many ways.
okay, so they're sort of an ancillary. Yeah,
Is that how you explain it, Pete?
I don't remember having one of these before. So I wonder if it was, because occasionally the city makes grants, I mean, the library makes more sense. Occasionally the city will make grants and perhaps the grant was in lieu of actually purchasing product or something. Park District is unusual because it's another branch of government. So I don't know what the arrangement is that would cause that, but it's possible that the city has some sort of arrangement.
And when you mentioned that, it may be that they do, because they did receive an ARPA grant, and so that might be
That it's
why
funneling through the
it's
city,
funneling through
and
the
therefore the
city.
city has to do the purchase. That might be the case.
Yeah, that makes sense. I couldn't quite figure it out.
But we can ask and get a definitive answer.
I don't think it's not that important. I just wondered what the connection was, but that makes sense if the money's coming through that way. Pete?
So the two I had questions, one is not so much a question. Stark Excavating, I take it, is our continuing trying to get the unions on board problem. And now that, we've had some turnover, we should probably figure out the time to revisit that question. The one that I really had a question on is performance pipelining. The numbers really are not great. And I understand that the city itself that they are in, the numbers are a bit closer. No, I'm sorry, the county, the numbers are a bit closer, but the city itself is a little more diverse than their numbers show. Is it because of the small numbers that you were thinking 2 years is appropriate?
Can you give me a second? I did this
Yeah,
last
no
week.
problem.
Let me refresh.
And there's no doubt that both the city and the county are predominantly white.
Yeah. So the rationale is down at the bottom.
Yeah,
So most people, it says that a large percentage of the workforce travels 19 minutes or less, so they are probably working within the community. and not leaving the county, and so having fewer people to pull from, diverse-wise.
And what is the nature of the work that they're doing? Do we have that? I didn't,
Hold on a second.
Sanitary sewage.
but if they're doing pipelining, obviously the workers are being transported here to do the work. If they're selling us stuff, maybe that's different. But if they got workers in the community, you know, or that are being transported here, you would think that it wouldn't matter that there's not a whole lot of movement in that community, or,
Again, it's the pool that they're drawing from to transport here,
right?
and
And I guess the town was 86% white, which is, like I said, predominantly white. But their numbers are 97% white, and only one each of a black employee and a Hispanic employee. That just seems, I mean, even for that predominantly white a community, is that, am I,
not everyone wants to do sewer work.
well, absolutely.
And so I can't speak to how many black people or how many Hispanic people would want to do sewer work. And where their reach is, where they're located, even in their county, it would still cause someone to travel there to travel here.
Sure.
And so it's the pool, the workforce pool that they have. And we have to remember, these numbers are, this is available workforce. It's not the, like, kids and the older
Right.
folks. So if we take those numbers out, it's an even lesser pool to draw from.
Is this a, and you may not know this, like a skilled sort of thing, which would also, you know, do you have to have like a pipeline certification?
They,
I would hope so.
Just as that phrase that we had, sanitary sewer lateral lining pilot project. So going down into a sewer and lining it in a certain way, to me, is a skill I don't have. So I assume it's an engineering skill or a
Sure,
sanitation skill of some sort.
yeah.
But I guess I mean, according to their chart, the vast majority of their workers, they have
are
53 unskilled labor is what it's listed as, 52 of which are white, 1 Hispanic. And they have 1 office manager or official or manager who is a black male. I don't know. I mean, Greg, I guess I would ask you, as the, you know, person who made the motion, do you feel strongly one way or the other? I would have some inclination to just ask them what, you know, whether they're doing some sort of affirmative action work.
That's why I'm checking to see if they provided us with a good faith effort.
Well, they're a new one, so,
To answer your question, no. I do not feel strongly one way or the other. I would be okay with 1 year. In terms of drawing from the pool, I think there's also the question of who is able to travel for work,
absolutely.
especially if it's an overnight leaving the household for multiple days, also raises questions.
I mean, their EEO statement, they used our template and filled one out. They, you know, it looks like, did they use our template for sexual harassment policy as well? So it sounds like, you know, they don't have much on their own as far as affirmative action, equal opportunity. I'd be slightly inclined to do a 1 year with a letter. It doesn't have to be a strongly worded one, but just, we're approving you, but we would like to hear what kinds of things you're doing to tap into whatever, and we understand that the pool is not huge there, but we would like to see you, you know, have some sort of program, something like that. Would you accept that as a friendly amendment?
Friendly amendment accepted.
And the seconder? Who seconded? Did I second?
Did.
Oh, well, then I guess I do accept that as a friendly amendment.
All right, so we have Shalini.
Okay, I got a question about the first company, BLD Services LLC. So their company address is listed as being in Louisiana. However, in their documentation, it makes reference to Illinois multiple times, like their sexual harassment policies and all that.
Do they have a local office or an Illinois office, maybe?
I guess that was my question.
It's possible that they have a local office because they're in Louisiana, that there's someone here taking care of business when they're presenting proposals or bids.
Okay.
They have someone local to take care of that.
All right, thank you very much.
But I can ask. If you like, we can ask those questions.
Yes, I'm just a little curious because it seems like normally, you know. Sorry, never mind.
That's fine. Sometimes companies have their headquarters in one space and have offices, which you'll see next month. They have offices all over the world, but they're headquartered in one spot.
I will say that with regard to BLD, Kenner, Louisiana is much more diverse than we are here. So,
Yes.
you know, if the numbers they're giving us include people from here, hopefully, you know, the numbers are relatively good for Champaign County. They're okay for where they are, so.
Yes. Okay. Any other comments or questions for Greg?
Only a question insofar as the officers mentioned next month's meeting and companies that have offices in other countries. I recall we had some discussions of how to handle European data security. Is that going to come up again next month, and do we have answers?
No, it won't. No, it won't come up next month.
We will get answers before it comes up, is, I presume, the answer.
Oh, I believe they, oh, you want to go ahead?
The reason we're mentioning that one at all is because we are already processing for January, because they missed the deadline for December, and it was an international company, but their headquarters is definitely in the U.S.
Good. All right. Are there any other questions about the companies that we're looking at tonight? Shalini?
I do have another general question. Is it possible that we could find out what the, like, I don't know, average turnover rate for this type of work is? I guess it would give, you know, more of a background into what numbers we might be seeing.
For which company or for every company?
I guess I'm just wondering, like, for these more trade-type jobs, is this level of turnover, like, normal or average? I guess I'm just wondering why there seem to be such large numbers.
Go ahead.
One thing I know, like the Stark excavating, a lot of the local union jobs, the way they work is they basically lose everybody every season and rehire everybody every season. So those turnover numbers are going to completely depend on the union and what the union's putting forward. I'm guessing manufacturing jobs, if we're buying stuff, would be less of that turnover. But I think we could probably like find out if particular companies have if they're renewals, we get those turnover numbers. it would probably be relatively straightforward to take your spreadsheets and run a little, how much turnover do they on average have?
That for, I guess I'm not understanding whose average or for each company, find out what the
No,
average of
like,
that industry is.
for the industry, what is the, and I take it construction jobs would be the one where we would see the most turnover. Is that generally everybody gets replaced kind of thing across the construction trades, or, that might at least be an interesting piece of information to kind of compare with and see what we're looking at.
I believe we're going to continue to see high numbers in the trades because if they're getting union workers, that is the standard, is that when they're done with the work, everybody's fired or let go, and then they bring back when they have more work. So I don't think we'll ever find an average for those. But
Yeah.
I will try to find averages for outside of trades.
Okay, 'cause specifically the one that I'm really looking at here, like the trade ones I can see a bit, but the healthcare one, those numbers are very high.
All the numbers are high in that, though. I mean, they have a
Yes, that
huge
is true.
workforce. So they're, especially if they're, the Blue Cross Blue Shield. So, they're going to lose people like crazy at the lower paying clerical jobs, which is what I think we're seeing here. Okay, did we make that clear at all? That what we're, no?
I'm going to ask about an Illinois office
Okay,
for BLD, and I'm going to try to find averages for outside of trades.
Yeah.
Average turnover.
correct. Which may not be available, but
I'm going to try.
give it a shot. Thank you. All right, any other questions or comments about the companies that we're reviewing? No? Okay, well, we've had a motion and a second and a friendly amendment to the second. So I guess all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Let me go back up to my agenda. Officers' report. Carla?
Informal complaints, there are no active formal complaints. Blessing. I did get some informal complaints or contacts. One caller reported that they believed their employer was being discriminatory. The situation did not meet the standard of unlawful discrimination. After I hear their story and they tell me, I look at, does it meet the prima facie? And if it doesn't, then I tell them other avenues that they can go to. And I said, if anything else changes in that situation, to call me back. Office activity, participated in the City Council Strategic Goals sessions, provided follow-up information to questions from council members. Shalini and I met twice and completed the 1222G presentation. It's going to be must-see TV. And we met yesterday for a dry run, and I think we're going to be okay. And there have been 2 responses from the Neighborhood Association contacts, South Urbana Neighborhood Association, and their meeting for their collective is not until May, but they have a steering committee that meets in February, and I've been invited to come there, so we'll find a time a night that I can come and visit that steering committee meeting. And then I also met with I heard from the Downtown Neighborhood Association, and I'm going to send them information, and they will share it with their group. They were not interested in having a presentation.
Okay. When is the must-see TV? What night is that?
We will be presenting to the city council on this coming Monday, December 11th.
Will it be a crowded meeting? I mean,
I don't know.
okay,
We're just going to be there. I believe we might be the third presentation, but I'm not sure.
okay.
I can't remember exactly, but it'll be early in the meeting.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you both working on that. I've seen you working on it, so I know it's going. Everyone seems, happy. All right, announcements. Are those your announcements or my announcements?
Go right ahead with those if you like.
Thank you. This commission has 5 openings, which is too many, so we would like some folks to join us. The next scheduled meeting is Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024, 5:30 p.m., which is a different week than our normal meeting. And then our February meeting will be Tuesday, February 13th, 2024, at 6 p.m., which is a different week and a different time. And then I believe we go back to our regularly scheduled event. Pete?
Not so much an announcement as a question for you all, but an announcement of sorts. I saw in the news the other night a group called the CU Reparations Coalition. And I'd not heard of them before. It's not directly in our mission, but it's certainly related. I was wondering if anybody else had contact with them, knew what they were doing, or I was going to drop a note and just sort of find out what they were all about.
I work with one of the leaders on the MLK Advocacy for Justice Committee, and he did invite me to their meeting. Unfortunately, I couldn't go. But I could put you in contact with him if you're just interested in
That'd be
having
great, or,
information.
yeah, some information. I mean, the news story was very general, but at least sounded like they're doing interesting work, so.
They did present to the council, I believe, on the first meeting. It might have been when we did the council goals.
Gotcha.
I can't remember what that, but I can find that and I can send you, because they did present,
That'd be great.
hear their presentation, but I can give you also the contact information.
Thanks.
I did hear about them not long ago, and I went to their website, which it hasn't been really kind of developed much yet, but yeah, I agree. It's an interesting, it might be a good connection for us to have.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly think that people in the coalition would have some crossover to topics that we're certainly are right in our wheelhouse.
Right.
But, yeah, I was just trying to get a feel, and yeah, the website has very general information, but
Right.
not a whole lot of detail.
Not yet, yeah. All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Melanie? Well, any other questions or comments from the officers? No. Okay,
We've got about 6.5 weeks before we're back in the same room together, so happy holidays and Happy New Year.
to you too. All right, then I will move to adjourn.